November 21st, 2018. This is MMA MARKS with Ricky
and Buddy.
All right, guys, let's get down to business. Okay, to recap last episode, we went over the big fight with Korean Zombie and Yair Rodriguez with an awesome last second finish. This week, we're going over a little bit more information about our backgrounds and the UFC fight between Neil Magny and Santiago Ponzinibbio. So here we go. Hey, buddy. So what's up, man?
Yeah. First off, the listeners may or may not know that me and you are cousins.
Yeah, you're my cousin on my mother's side.
Yeah,
keep it in the family.
Yeah, and we've always been pretty close.
So again, what got you into MMA?
Yeah, so ever since I was like 4 years old, since I can really remember, I was a big time pro wrestling fan. I've always watched like every match that I could, WCW, WWF, all that, a little bit ECW, but I've always been drawn to the more realistic style of pro wrestlers. Somebody would do like the real hard style slams, not necessarily over dramatic hurt. So naturally, when I found out about MMA, it drew me in because it's 100% real as it gets, as they say.
Yeah.
So you always had like the martial arts background that you liked.
Oh yeah, man. I'm a martial artist at heart. I love jiu-jitsu, Wing Chun, a little bit of taekwondo. Martial arts has been my life ever since I was 5 years old, and took karate. And I just love, if you could pay me to do jiu-jitsu, I'd quit my job right now and do that. But sadly, it's not the case, and here we are. But martial arts has been my life since I can remember. So naturally, when I heard about MMA, draw me to it. So I have been training jiu-jitsu since about 2008. Not as consistent as I want to be, but I did actually compete a couple times. Went to a national championship, and I took third place, which was pretty good. And I've been training on and off ever since. So that's kind of how I love MMA and what draws me to it.
So real quick, something I don't know, and I'm sure the listeners would like to hear, what exact movie or show made you so interested in martial arts, wanting to train and everything else?
Oh my God.
Well, like what's your first inspiration?
Bruce Lee, man. Bruce Lee. Seen Enter the Dragon and fell in love. And then every Sunday when I was a kid, man, every Sunday, y'all, if anybody's out there, remember the old days with Black Belt Theater on TV 54 every Sunday at 12, man. Sat right on the couch. Me and my dad would watch Black Belt Theater, and you'd see the old time martial arts movies, the ones where their mouth is moving real,
yeah,
and you can't understand nothing. And that's when you get to see old style Jackie Chan, a little bit of Jet Li, the Shaw Brothers, anything like that.
Yeah, I've never been a big martial arts movie fan.
Oh my God, you got to see. Must see is the 36 Chambers of Shaolin. Must see, absolute must see. It's one of the best martial arts movies I've ever seen in my life. That, Enter the Dragon, those movies propelled me to want to do martial arts because I thought they were just the coolest thing. You could disable 10 people, 20 people with just your hands. Yeah. Oh man, that was so intoxicating. I just wanted to do that when I was a kid. My mother used to tell me when I was little and I got put into karate, I couldn't go 5 feet without kicking somebody or something.
Well, we did wrestle a lot when we was younger.
Oh yeah, man. WWF was everywhere.
I'd let you try out all the moves on me. Broken furniture in the house.
Oh yeah, always broken furniture everywhere. I'm surprised. We had have table matches and broken beds and broken dressers and everything. It was great.
So let's kind of get into some of the things that we wanted to go over from last week. Uh, let's start off with the whole Aldo's a spy.
Oh my God!
Did you research that?
Of course, I researched that. Look, okay,
Let's get into it.
So this was old style. So you remember UFC 200, Jose Aldo excuse me, versus Frankie Edgar, and the
now,
big.
hold on. So it's Jose Aldo. I know he's your favorite. So can you give us a little background on him?
So Jose Aldo, he's been the WEC 145 champ, and then when UFC bought WEC, he became the first featherweight champ. So he was champion for about 10 years straight. Nobody could touch this guy. Leg kicks were just ridiculous. He's
Finishing
from
people
left and right.
Yeah, he wasn't just point of just winning fights.
No, he was going in
Finishing
and destroying everybody he touched. And he was, I believe he was a professional soccer player before he started with MMA. He has a great biography movie on Netflix. Check it out. But he's from Brazil. Great guy. So he comes up to UFC 200 and he's to fight Frankie Edgar. Now, Frankie Edgar is a drop down, gritty fighter from Jersey.
Small guy, just like Aldo.
Yeah, but he's built like a tank. Frankie Edgar's built like a tank. He's real stocky. Aldo's more slender and the marathon runner type.
Mm-hmm.
So Aldo is known for his leg kicks. He goes in and destroys people with their leg kicks. Well, in this particular fight, he didn't throw. Maybe he threw two, and that's being generous. He threw two leg kicks. So after he wins the fight via decision, unanimously.
Edgar's not an easy fight for anybody, though.
No, he's not. He's not. And I think that's one of the reasons why Aldo had to change up his whole thing. Excuse me. So afterwards, Aldo was interviewed on why he changed up his style so much. And it was determined, or he came out and said that he had spies in Frankie Edgar's camp. So Buddy thinks that this is a bitch move.
100% it is.
100% it is. Okay. I think if it was a whole camp, yes, that would be a bitch move. But it wasn't a whole camp. Okay. This was when the fighters come in for fight week. So they get in to the venue to fight a week before the actual event takes place. During that week, they do a little bit of training back and forth, get warmed up, normal stuff. They go over maybe a couple fight plans and this and that. Well, Aldo tried to get an edge. He's seen that there was a couple Brazilians on Frankie Edgar's side of his training area. So he went to those Brazilians and said, hey, man, tell me what's going on. And they could have said no, but they didn't. They said, sure. And they said, hey, watch out for your leg kicks and watch out for your left hand. They didn't give him a big rundown of everything. They just said, hey, watch out for your kicks, watch out for your left hand. He's been working that. That's it. So I don't think that kind of thing was a big advantage for Aldo. Because, yes, you knew that he was working on your leg kicks and your left hand. Left hand, okay, big. You get a bigger advantage on that. But also, all that aside, Frankie Edgar needs to learn how to adapt. Okay, if you're not going to throw the leg kicks, you need to adapt and win the fight.
Okay, so Frankie Edgar, his whole nickname, is the answer, right? He had the answer. He was basing it off of previous fights, like Aldo should have. Had his game plan based off of Frankie Edgar's previous fights. And Frankie Edgar had the answer. I mean, Aldo looked at his paperwork and, cheating off his paper at school on a test. And just so happened that just ruined Aldo's whole game plan. And it was hard to come back from that because you expect somebody that throws multiple leg kicks to throw leg kicks. Obviously, he didn't have the answer once it started going down, but it wasn't an easy fight. He did try to keep it, scrappy and everything, and he didn't. Aldo didn't win every round.
No, he didn't win every round. So that's even more of a thing that he wasn't extremely cheating. It, it's not that big of a deal. Aldo was using his advantage at the time.
Okay.
It wasn't like he said, "Okay, I'm gonna hire this man to go to Frankie Edgar's camp. Look at his training regimen. Look at what he's working on. Look at every part of his training and develop my game plan based off of that."
I think what he did is he got the most important stuff, and that's at the very end. You don't have to have somebody watching somebody's every move, just as long as you know what their overall game plan is. I think it's played a big advantage in Aldo's corner, and also think about this, for everybody. And I really like Aldo, but at the same time, I do feel like these are negative marks against him. If he's admitting to having spies, think of everything he's not admitting to. Think of everything, all the dirty stuff that goes on that he doesn't admit to.
Well, that goes with any fighter. Any fighter's not going to admit the dirty tricks that they play.
If he's admitting to spies, he must have something. He's doing something crazy.
Well, what if he's not? Nobody knows. You can only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know, bud.
Well, I'm going to stick with he's probably a dirty cheat.
Well, the thing that did surprise me about this, and I like Aldo. Aldo is my favorite fighter. But the thing that did tip me off to this is that right after he said that he confirmed that he had spies, he's going to put out on Twitter or some type of social media that he was joking. And I looked at the interview when it was being done, and I can tell you he was not joking. He wasn't joking at all. He didn't smile when he said that he had spies. He wasn't being facetious or sarcastic. He looked like he was just telling it how it was.
Yeah, just speaking the facts.
Yeah. So I don't think he was lying. I don't think he was joking. I think he was dead serious that he had a spy, that cornermen from Brazil help him all the time. But I don't see it as a big cheat. I can see if somebody was spying on somebody in camp, that would be a bigger cheat because you're learning in camp. But once you're at fight week, you keep all your secret stuff secret. If you have secret game plan,
I think knowing people's game plan is a lot more than watching their training. And that's just my opinion. I think that's a bigger advantage, knowing what somebody's going for than what they have been working on.
like how?
I feel like knowing what. So if we was to fight and you've been working on your kicks like crazy, but then later on I find out that you're going for overhand right, even if you've been working on your kicks for a long time, but you're just gonna try and knock me out with that right. Knowing that right's coming is a bigger advantage than knowing that you've been working on your legs.
Yeah, but what makes me a martial artist is that I can adapt to that situation. If you know the right hand's coming and I throw it and you have an answer for it and you don't end the fight that way and it goes the distance or it keeps going, it's my job as a martial artist to adapt to that and beat your ass either way. And that's what Aldo did. And that's what Frankie should have done, but he didn't. He lost.
I'll give you that one. I'll let you have that. All right, because it's a point.
It's the point. It's not a point. It's the point. You got to adapt to a fight.
Regardless, Aldo won and Edgar lost.
And that's the story of Edgar's life. Just like T-City. T-City, Brian Ortega, he's about to fight for the championship. He took his number one spot from Edgar when he knocked him clean off his feet.
Edgar didn't need to take that fight, and he did.
That's Edgar's stupidity. Edgar had the number one spot. He didn't have to take a fight with Brian Ortega, but he wanted to be Mr. Tough Guy and be the company man, and he took that fight and he lost.
Yep. So
hold on. Let's go back real quick
right,
from last week. I got you to watch Randy Couture versus Big Nog. What did you think of the fight?
So it was definitely like a crazy banger. Like these guys, I mean, it's ridiculous, and there was so much like nostalgia watching it. Like literally, like you forgot how different UFC used to be. I never even looked at exactly what year this was, but like Joe Rogan had hair. Just the whole production of watching the fight was completely different. Them coming to the ring took forever. I actually skipped through that, a lot of it.
Yeah, it was a big long interest. Now Randy Couture and Big Nog fought on UFC 103. Now UFC is coming up on 231. So it was a long time ago, but it's still one of the greatest fights of all time, I think.
Well, I mean, it was really good. It's a whole different pace than it is nowadays, but it was very gritty, very rugged, brutal. It was a lot. It seemed like a lot more like more street fight type of than it does these days. More, not always, but a lot of times it's more athletic than it was then. This time, I mean, they were like just eating each other's punches and stuff, which I mean that's
It looked
cool.
like a hockey fight a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah.
going back and forth, hand per hand, punch for punch. It was great. That's what made it a great back and
Multiple
forth battle.
multiple times it seemed like either one was going to get finished and they would somehow reverse or get out of it. Big Nog did this sweep or whatever, just effortlessly.
Oh yeah, he
It
was on
looked
the
like Randy.
bottom.
Yeah,
Randy
Randy
was
won
on
already.
top, and Big Nog he's a great jiu-jitsu fighter. Sweeped him like it was nothing. Like he was fighting a 12-year-old. Just sweeped him, got on top of him, and started laying hands on him. It was great. But Randy took it and just kept coming back, kept coming back. Now I will say that the referee was Mario Yamasaki, and Yamasaki lets fights go. I think Randy probably got beaten that fight a lot earlier than he did, and Yamasaki just let it go.
You went to decision.
It did go to decision, but I don't think it had to. I think he beat him in the third because he put him on his ass, knocked him with that big right hand, got on top of him, was beating on him. But Randy, apparently, in the referee's eyes, was intelligently defending himself. I don't think he was, but
And also, that was the main event, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah. So this was like before the 5 round fights and everything, and this was a 3 round fight. Now I remember watching this, and I was watching with Ricky. And I was mentioning, I was like, oh yeah, this is before 5 round fights really were a thing in UFC. And then I was saying how imagine what it would be like if this was a 5 round fight. It would it could go very differently because Big Nog won, but maybe
Randy has the bigger gas tank.
yeah, maybe in the fourth, fifth round, Randy edged him out. Would have edged him out because of his cardio. He looked in better shape, and it's very possible that wrestling came into play and he just wrestled him and Big Nog could have just completely choked him out or something. Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen, but Big Nog won that one. It was the greatest fight. I think one of the candidates for greatest fight of all time. I don't know how Buddy feels
I
about
mean,
it.
it's to me, it's not one of the greatest fights of all time. It was a cool fight, and anybody that likes watching UFC, especially nowadays, definitely go back and watch some of the older fights because it's really cool to see how it used to be and how the rules changed and how it's like there was one time that they did this weird zoom in that I'm not used to. Like maybe back then it wasn't even I didn't notice, but I was like, wow, that kind of makes me dizzy. And we were talking about how the cameras angles are different now. And Ricky was like, yeah, it's probably because people like you and me get dizzy off of watching it when he starts zooming in and out so quickly.
Oh yeah, man. It's so the cool thing I thought about it rewatching the fight with him. Excuse me, was just the evolution of the sport now. I mean, so much has changed in that time frame. It's more athletic, it's more methodical, it's more thought out. Back then, it was just brawling.
Mm.
Now it's not. Now it's definitely more cerebral, and everybody's has a game plan. You can tell that these guys just went in there and said, "Yeah, I know a little bit of fighting. I know some ground. I don't really have a game plan. We're going to see what happens."
Yeah, I mean, there's still some people like that, but for the most part, everybody is more well-rounded than it was then. Before it was a lot of style versus style, and now it's hey, everybody has a little bit of everything now, which to me is better, but it's still cool to watch those old fights. Um,
All right. So with that being said, we thought it'd be cool to talk about our greatest knockouts, what we thought was the greatest knockouts in our minds. And the one caveat was that we couldn't look it up right away. they had to be right off the top of our heads. So they're fresh, the ones that you'll always remember, and
Some standout knockouts.
definitely standouts. And the cool thing about it was that me and Buddy had different ones. We didn't have the same ones like you see most of the time. So, Buddy, what was one of your favorite knockouts?
Okay, so easily one of my favorite knockouts of all time. Barboza, Edson Barboza. He's a Brazilian. Is he Brazilian?
Yes, he's Brazilian.
Brazilian fighter. I know that like he's done a lot of Muay Thai. He's like Muay Thai style. He does a lot of kickboxing and stuff. Well, he's just known as like one of the best kickers in the fight game. He's got really really fast kicks, and he doesn't get drained too much unless Khabib's on top of him.
Khabib murdered him.
So this is a while back, and he was fighting Terry Edom, who I believe no longer fights anymore. Not really 100% positive, but he was doing pretty good. He had a pretty good run, and the fight seemed interesting at first. But Edson Barbosa, out of nowhere, just does that spinning kick to the head,
Spinning hook kick right to the jaw.
You know what I was trying to say. Right to his jaw, like literally stiffens Terry Edom, stiffens him.
He doesn't even fold. He stands straight up, falls over like
Arms
a tree.
Out in the air, like almost like he's trying to stop the kick from coming.
Oh man, it was great.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy.
So I have a similar one with a spinning back kick that I will never forget as long as I live. It was Uriah Hall versus Adam Sella at the Ultimate Fighter House.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Oh my God, it was so cool because it wasn't in a big arena where there was hundreds of people. Yeah. It was like
people cried.
Yeah, it was like 50.
Multiple people cried.
It was like 50 people
in there. Scary.
And then when he does this spinning back kick to this kid's face, Uriah Hall spinning back kicks this guy. He hits him, and you could hear it hit. It sounded like a smack, and then the thud hit. When he hit the ground, everybody was silent. I mean,
except for him, who hit the ground.
That you could hear him breathing so hard,
snoring.
Yes, snoring. It was
gritting his teeth.
Oh my God, it was scary. It was scary. I thought he almost killed him.
I'm surprised I didn't think about that one.
Oh my God,
that is a nasty knockout.
That is the nastiest knockout. All these guys. We're gonna put some of these knockouts on our descriptions and Instagram stuff, so you guys can check them out. But yeah, definitely that is one I will never forget. Is there any more, Bud, that you can think of?
We got plenty to go over. We'll kind of just go back and forth.
Okay.
Seems to be working. So, one that's definitely worth mentioning, it's probably one of the quickest knockouts in the game. I mean, there's plenty there more than that, but McGregor versus Aldo.
Fuck you, buddy.
He had practiced that exact movement, and he actually have video of him doing it where he goes in and out and then pops him. He literally does the same exact movement he was practicing right before he went out to the octagon, and he drops him easy.
Yeah, he dropped him easy. Let's go on. Move on to this one. We're not talking about this one. I had to relive this so much. It hurts. Yeah, I hated 13 seconds on my favorite fighter. Oh man, it's horrible. And the fact that he called it for a long time. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit him this. No, he told him exactly what he's gonna do. And idiot Aldo got right into it and played right into his game, and out he went. 13 seconds.
Yeah, well, I guess there wasn't no Brazilians in the Irish camp. I don't know. Maybe that's he didn't have the advantage.
Look at that little dig right.
He didn't have the spies.
Yeah, he didn't have the spies.
All right, let's hear one of yours.
Okay. This is a guy that fights in Bellator. This is not a UFC fighter. This is a Bellator fight. So it's a man by the name of Michael Venom Page. They call him MVP. He is like, if you guys know UFC, he's kind of like Anderson Silva. He fights a Muay Thai style, and he is very flashy. And he was up against this guy named Cyborg Santos. Not the girl, but
Chris Cyborg's husband.
Correct. And
he might be divorced now.
Probably. But doesn't matter. So MVP is fighting Cyborg. Cyborg comes in for a takedown and catches a flying knee to the forehead.
I remember this.
And this knee was so devastating. It dented his forehead. And I'm not talking like a little dent. This
it was terrible.
It was horrible. He immediately turned on his stomach and covered up. And the guy refereeing the fight was Herb Dean at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Herb Dean goes over to the announcers and says, "That was the hardest knee I've ever seen in my career." So Herb Dean must have seen 10,000 fights easy.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest knee. After the fight, Cyborg posted on his Instagram and social media what his head looked like and the x-rays. Dented his forehead. It looked like a baseball-sized dent in this man's forehead.
It was like caved in.
Caved in. It wrecked his skull. It was just ridiculous. And he was smiling afterwards, but I don't think I've seen him fight since.
Yeah, well,
he had to get reconstructive surgery on his face.
Yeah, well, his skull got damaged, so they actually put, metal in his skull, so now he's really a cyborg.
Living up to the name, man. Living up to the name.
But I don't know if that's true. I just made that
up. But, man, that knee was devastating. I'll tell you what. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, one of my favorite, and I actually, even remember the movement that happened and laughing with you about this is when Ben Rothwell fought Brendan Schaub. Ben Rothwell was kind of he's kind of a weirdo, honestly, but he's
a bit of a psychopath.
Yeah, he's a big white dude. He's just off on his personality, but he's kind of chunky and he's known as a really, really big power puncher. And Brendan Schaub, he's not fighting.
Big Brown.
Yeah, he's not fighting no more. He was pretty good. He had a good little run.
Yeah. Now he does comedy and podcasts and below the belt. Check it out.
The fight started off with them just kind of going at it right away. Neither one of them seemed scared or hesitant one to one another.
Oh, yeah, it was a slugfest.
And then Rothwell just caught him really, really good. And when Schaub went down, he fell hard, and he was trying to catch butterflies. He was out of it.
So he's up, laying on his back, looking at the stars, coming around, looking at the lights, and grabbing at nothing, grabbing at thin air, looking like he was trying to grab butterflies, literally. It was great. It was a great knockout. Yeah, I can't. Wasn't my favorite, but I couldn't believe that was something that happened.
Yeah. So let's move on to yours.
Oh, well, without a doubt, you can't go anywhere without talking about Lyoto Machida, Randy Couture, the famous crane kick, looking like Karate Kid, man.
I don't know if I know that one.
You don't see that one? Oh, my God.
Versus Randy Couture, no.
Yes, Lyoto Machida versus Randy Couture. He actually pulled off the Karate Kid crane kick. Arms up like he's in crane position, front snap kick to the chin, and out went Randy Couture. It was great, so great. And the video that I'm going to be posting with this is Mr. Miyagi telling him to do it. It's cut up really nice. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
I feel like I've seen that fight, but I don't remember it like that. I mean, you know how it gets when you get so many fights in your brain. Yeah, I can't wait to see that clip myself. So another knockout worth mentioning that was just so crazy is Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem.
Oh my God!
Francis Ngannou, he's a fighter from Cameroon. He's like super nice, but he's like that big nice guy. You know, he's like real
gentle
big.
Giant.
Yeah, he's got that kind of personality, and he's just, his power is unreal. Like, he just puts people out. And the worst knockout, or the best knockout he has, is against Alistair Overeem, who's also known as a great striker.
Now these guys are heavyweights.
Yeah.
So they're like 250 plus.
Yeah. And Alistair Overeem came in the UFC from K1, I believe, and he was known as like just running through everybody. And he came in, he ran right through Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, put Brock Lesnar to sleep
easy. And you know, even me, I was like, yeah. So this going into this fight, I'm like, Overeem's got this. It's easy. He can avoid a big power punch. No big deal. Well, either Overeem underestimated him, or he just got caught. Whatever it was the most devastating uppercut probably in all the UFC's clips. 'Cause, I mean, I'm talking about just uppercuts alone, though.
looked like his head was going to come off his shoulders. He hit him so hard. Ngannou just kind of reminded me of Ryu in Street Fighter. Hadouken straight up to the chin.
Or like a Mortal Kombat one.
Oh my God, yes.
It's just like, and it put him right to sleep. Right to sleep.
He didn't have a shot after that. I mean, I think it did take him off his feet, didn't it?
Yeah, it took him off his feet, and he was sleeping when he dropped.
Oh yeah, he was sleeping before he hit the ground.
Night.
Bing, bing.
So that was definitely an awesome knockout to check out.
And this one, I know this is on your list, even though you haven't said it.
This is the one I've been saving. If it's
okay,
it's the only one I have left.
Oh, it's the only one you have left, so I can't.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Big Hendo versus Michael Bisping. So Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping, and this was a culmination of a whole reality series from The Ultimate Fighter. So they're both coaches on opposite teams of The Ultimate Fighter, and at the end of The Ultimate Fighter, they have to fight. So, and they were talking trash the entire 16 weeks?
Well, I want to say they were talking trash. I would say Bisping was talking trash, and Hendo was kind of telling him like, You're biting off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
And he wasn't lying.
No.
And that knockout was so great. And the thing is like, you watch the fight, and Joe Rogan's saying it, but I mean, anybody, you don't need Joe Rogan to tell you this, but he points it out so it's easy to really follow what's going on. Is he keeps circling to Hendo's or Dan Henderson's power hand. And what's the one thing Henderson's known for doing is knocking everybody out.
Yeah.
You keep circling, and then that's what happened. He got caught hard.
He has a nickname for his right hand.
Yeah, the H-bomb.
And he got hit with that bomb.
Now, just to give a little background in case, the listeners don't know, Michael Bisping is a British dude who is very, very big trash talker.
He's probably the number one British fighter ever.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like him. I've really learned to like him. Because he can be kind of an asshole in a way, but so can I. So that's why it's easy to kind of turn around and like him. But he doesn't mind, really talking shit. And Dan Henderson will shut you up if you talk shit.
Yes.
And Dan Henderson, where he went over kind of who he is on the last one, because I talked about how he was my favorite fighter and everything. He's older. He's an older guy, and he was older back then.
Yeah.
He was known as an older fighter even when...
Veteran of the game.
But
what made this knockout so good?
Yeah.
What made this knockout perfect
was
the revenge of it. So after he hits the man with this massive right hand. No hesitation at all. Drops Michael and then jumps in the air, both feet off the ground, and comes down with another right hand on this man's chin.
It was more of a forearm, but yeah.
It was so
He
nice.
put his weight on an out cold guy. And
it just looked like he had revenge all built up into his heart.
This is before like a lot of big changes with UFC. This is still like kind of old school UFC. And I believe it was Joe Rogan was interviewing me. He's like, you hit him after the bell. He's like, yeah.
It wasn't after the bell, but it was
after the knockout. And he's like, yeah, I did that. I forget exactly the wording now, but he pretty much was like, yep, that's what you get.
Well, he did talk a lot of shit, so I mean that was
he said that one will shut him up or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't shut him up, but yeah, he went to sleep, and it was, oh my God, it was.
Side note: Bisping fought him much later and won in the rematch.
Yeah,
and he got caught multiple times, but I guess he learned to take punches better.
Oh, his boxing improved tenfold after that fight.
Yeah. So that wiped my knockouts out because I didn't have many that I really.
So I couldn't stop. I had to tell. I have two more. One being the sign of a true martial artist. Nate Marquardt versus Damian Maia. Now, his fight didn't really last very long. Damian Maia is a Brazilian fighter from Brazil, and he's known for his jiu-jitsu. So he's known for his game, his ground game. And
Who, Damian Maya?
yes,
He's known as one of the best in MMA
for his ground game.
for his jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
They literally will say arguably the best jiu-jitsu guy when it comes to MMA.
True. But every fight starts on the feet. Doesn't start on the ground, starts on the feet.
And he's been having trouble keeping up with people standing.
Yes. So he fights Nate Marquardt. Now, Nate Marquardt is a older guy, veteran of the game. He used to fight in No Holds Barred match in Japan called Pancrase. He was the king of Pancrase. And comes over, so he has very good stand-up. And about 10 seconds into this fight, comes over, and it looks like Damian Maya tries to jump into guard with him, but catches a big right hand and drops him. As soon as Damian Maya hits the ground, Nate Marquardt has every opportunity to hit him again, but he knows that he's knocked out before he even hits the ground. Goes to swing and stops. He did just enough, showed restraint, showed true martial artist right there. Was showing compassion for your opponent. He didn't have to destroy him. He could have, but he didn't.
But that's gotten people in trouble. Well, not in trouble, but in trouble might be the word. In the past, maybe after that one, where people thought somebody was out, the ref really didn't see it, gave them time to recover, and they recovered pretty quickly. And then they go to lose the fight because they thought they already finished it. It just happens, but I'm just saying I get the whole walking away thing, but it's not always needed. Some people try too much.
Yeah, I thought it was a great sign of martial artist that he didn't destroy his opponent, because at the end of the day, everybody needs to go home to their family. You don't need to try and kill a guy or end his career.
Yeah.
I mean, all great knockouts aside, I mean that's the game plan. They're not trying to murder people on there. It is a sport, and both opponents need to go home to their families.
Not everybody, like somebody like Justin Gaethje.
What do you mean? What do you got against Gaethje?
No, I'm saying, so you said not everybody wants to murder somebody. You ever hear Justin Gaethje talk on his interviews?
No.
I mean, he was talking about, he's like this is on UFC Unfiltered. He was interviewing, and he's like, yeah, you remember when Anderson Silva's leg wrapped around
Weidman's leg?
Yeah, he's like, I'd love my leg to wrap around somebody's head as I knock him out, because that would be the ultimate thing.
Psychopath.
Yeah, so I mean, some people are kind of crazy and want to murder other people. Like I said, it's not all about respect, and I mean sometimes it is, but at the end of the day, it's two guys fighting.
And that's why we argue, because you're more into that murder, fight, kill thing, and I'm about respect and martial artists and the sport of it.
It's entertainment too.
It's a sport first.
I would disagree. I mean, you got to pay for this. You got to pay for it. No,
entertainment's where the money is, but it's a sport at heart. Now, so my last one.
I was gonna say, I know you got a couple more. I ain't trying to.
I only got one more. It's a Jose Aldo one. Had to throw it in there. Jose Aldo versus Chad Mendes.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows about Jose Aldo, but Chad Mendes, up and coming wrestler, great on the ground.
At the time, he was up and coming.
Okay, so he grabs onto Jose Aldo at the cage, holds onto him, got his back, and he's trying to take him down, but he can't.
Now, I was so excited at that point, though.
Yes, I thought he was going to the ground, and we finally get to see Aldo's ground game, but
I thought we were just going to see Aldo get pounded out.
That ain't going to happen, son. Ain't going to happen. Anyway, Jose Aldo gets free, breaks the grip, and so when Chad Mendes tries to go back into him to grab his back again, Jose Aldo spins around and knees him right in the face. It was great. You didn't expect him, because they were on the cage. You didn't expect Aldo to spin around that fast and actually get a knee off. But it was lightning quick, right to the head, like he timed it perfectly, like he had eyes in the back of his head, knocked him clean out, got on top of him, almost hit him again. I think he did, maybe not, but the ref got him real quick, ended the fight. Awesome. And those are our knockouts.
Hey, as far as the Aldo knockout you talked about,
yeah,
spies are a hell of a drug.
Oh,
I'm just saying. I mean, it's a good thing he gets spies, right?
Yeah, it is a good thing. It is a good thing because spies give him the ability to spin around lightning fast and time a knee perfectly into somebody's face. Spies help everything, don't they?
It's debatable.
Debatable, please, please. All right, so let's go over upcoming fights, man. What do you got?
Well, I mean, so first of all, let's.
Not upcoming. What happened? What happened? Well, we just had that big UFC fight night, right? Ponzinibbio versus Magny.
Yeah, so Ponzinibbio and Magny, that went in your favor because you predicted for Ponzinibbio to win.
I did. Because I don't think Magny can handle world class competition. I really don't. I think he's more of a low level fighter.
Wouldn't go that far. I just think Ponzinibbio. He hit him in early on in the eye, messed up his eye. I'm not giving the man excuses. I'm saying
jabbed him in the eye. And it wasn't illegal.
It messed up his eye. No. I'm not saying whatever it was. I mean, he got a clean strike to his eye.
Yes.
And it kind of threw Magny's game off the whole, like pretty much the whole match. Because he had damaged his eye.
Can't fight.
And leg kicked the shit out of him, and he couldn't walk that well either. So I mean, Ponzinibbio just completely had a great game plan and won. But you're saying he's a low level fighter. He's not really. I mean, it's just Ponzinibbio got him really good, and from my standpoint, I think it showed Magny as a warrior. And one of the things he even said on his own Instagram, I believe that's what he said. He's like, live by the sword, die by the sword. He's like, I wasn't gonna just go out like, I wasn't just gonna take an easy way out.
Well, I think that was in reference to why didn't the corner stop the fight? Because it was obvious.
No, and he wouldn't let it. He wouldn't let it, and he got knocked out. He said, I'm gonna go out there and just give him all. He's like, I'm gonna go and try and finish him.
Right. I mean, but
he wasn't gonna take an easy way out. That's what he literally said that.
Right. He said he wasn't going to take the easy way out, but at the heart of the matter, the safety of a fighter, the cornerman could have stopped the fight. He was standing on one leg, literally hopping around, and he was doing just enough so the ref wouldn't stop it. If I was his corner, I think I would have stopped the fight. I think I would have, just to save him, because he was already getting beat. There's no need to take more punishment than necessary. And he did take more punishment than necessary because
that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, but you can't. There comes a time where fighter safety overtakes the fighter's heart to continue. I mean, there's going to be other fights. Not every fight you need to go out on your sword. Sometimes you need to. Your safety comes first, man.
Well, this was a big fight. It potential, high ranking in the division and maybe even a championship fight. Ponzinibbio probably has at least one more fight before he gets the championship fight, just because Woodley's, and he did call out the champ, but Woodley told him take a number because he has everybody calling him out, and there's other people more deserving at the moment than Ponzinibbio.
Yeah. So another fight on there that I have to talk about is Khalil Roundtree versus Johnny Walker. Now, Johnny Walker is a brand new fighter. Well, not brand new
to UFC.
Brand new to UFC. Excuse me. Yeah, this was his debut. He was in Ultimate Fighter and came in and just walked right through.
Walker walked right through, huh?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Got him right in the clinch, and when he got Roundtree in this clinch, there was no getting out of it. I mean, just not even going to happen. And he could put him wherever he wanted to, walked him right down, and then he hit him with this nasty elbow in the clinch. You heard the smack of this elbow go right across this dude's jaw, and then
it was bad.
And then out he went. He didn't have a shot after that.
Just to kind of throw back out there, the way when he clinched him and everything, it resembled, it makes you remember Anderson Silva versus
What, Chris Lieben?
not Lieben,
Rich Franklin?
Rich Franklin.
Yes, that was a Thai clinic.
Yeah, when he clinched him, he had no idea what to do. Roundtree looked like he was trying, but he really didn't do much when he was getting clinched. So it just, I mean, it literally, I remember thinking, I was like, this is like Anderson Silva's clinch, dude. He just had that clinch on. And it looked effortless, though. Like, he wasn't, like, really grabbing his own arm. I was watching, like, his hands looked kind of just chill. I guess that's so he could, put those elbows out there, too. He wasn't grabbing him. He wasn't holding a clinch too tight. I mean,
he was holding it tight. He was holding it very tight. But that's what I'm saying.
Like, it didn't seem like
he didn't have hand over hand. He didn't have
he just had
cable grip. What he had was laced finger grip around the guy's head.
Yeah, but then he could easily. I remember seeing this.
No, he had him laced fingers.
Either way, he was on and off of that grip quick.
Yes.
Because he would go right back to the grip and then pull out, elbow the shit out of him or whatever he was doing,
Yeah.
It was nasty, and I wonder who he's got next. I would like to see him fight pretty much anybody because a lot of times people debut when they're like on that kind of level. They debut and it surprises everybody because nobody knew about them.
Right.
But now that people know to watch out for him,
yeah, people want to know now.
Is he still gonna be able to impose that kind of fight game on somebody that knows it's coming?
Yeah, and
some people can do that.
Some people can't. We're gonna see. I'm looking forward to it though. So another fight. How about Ricardo Lamas versus Darren Elkins? That was a co-main event.
Literally, almost everybody that picked fights with us, except for one person, picked Lamas, and I can't see. I don't know why anybody would pick Elkins over Lamas. I mean,
yeah, it was a completely outclassed. I mean, now Darren Elkins is a tough fighter. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's a very he's gritty fighter.
He's in the UFC for a reason.
Yeah, he made the fight dirty.
And he can take a lot of damage. That's probably why they call him the damage. He's got a tattoo on his chest. He's like a brawler style fighter.
Yes.
And Ricardo Lamas he's
technical.
He kicks your ass. Yeah. And if you're known to take a lot of damage, you're going to take a lot of damage against somebody like Ricardo Lamas. And Ricardo Lamas just made it look easy, which I expected in my eyes.
Yeah, this was another great utilization. That was a hard word. Of the leg kicks. I mean, set him up perfect and just kept kicking the leg, keeping him on his toes, backing him up, keeping him in that danger zone, as they like to call it, between the black lines in the cage. And just he held that center of the octagon and just kept nailing him with the leg kicks, and just dropped him. I think what round was that he dropped him? Round 3? Round 2?
Honestly, I don't even remember.
I know he won TKO. Yeah, but it was a great fight, and Lamas, great showing, made it look pretty easy, not too difficult. So we had a nice ladies fight with Cynthia Calvillo and what is her name? Paulina Botello. Well, Calvillo's coming back from a suspension where she couldn't really make weight, and she didn't make weight for this fight either, which surprised me because, I mean, coming back off of a suspension, you want to be on your game and make your weight. But she was 2 pounds off. She's a 115-pound fighter. She came in at 118, looked real sickly on the weigh-ins.
Did she get suspended for weight, or was it something? I thought it had to do with, like, she got caught with THC in her system.
Was it that?
I don't remember what podcast or article I read or something. I don't know where I got this information, but I thought I seen or heard that she got suspended because of THC.
I'd have to look into it, but yeah, I don't know what it was. I can't tell you for sure.
She had the munchies and she couldn't cut weight.
She said she was going through some problems, but she made weight and
paid off.
It did pay off because she got a sick choke on Botello, where she got a rear naked choke, and she only had one hook in.
Was it a rear naked?
Yeah, it was a rear naked, but she had a gable grip, and a gable grip is where you.
I thought she had an arm with it.
She had no arm with it. It was straight under the neck and kind of gable gripped it. Gable grip is where you kind of clap your hands together if you're thinking clapping, where you grab your two hands together and pull your wrist bone into the person's throat. And she had that real tight, and she was over her back. So Botello was on her hands and knees.
On all fours. Trying to get up.
Cavella was on her back, reaching over her, and had one hook in
and her. The round was almost over.
Yeah, it was coming up to the end of the round. She had one hook in her. A hook is a leg wrapped around a leg, for those that don't understand. Had one hook in and pulled that choke, and that choke went in so quick. And
she tapped. She had tap.
Yeah, it was over as soon as she gable gripped. You could tell.
She was either going to tap or go to sleep. So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a cool fight. I just, I mentioned, and a lot of people know about this already, but people that don't make weight, and, that it might sound like 2 pounds is only a little, or sometimes it's more than that, but, 2-3 pounds, that's a huge advantage in these fights. And it's really, if you look at the statistics, it's almost like 99% of the time, if people come in overweight, they're going to win because they didn't have to cut the weight like everybody else did. And I mean, they'll gladly give a little percentage of their purse just to have that advantage and win.
Yeah. Well, that's a new debate coming around, is weight cutting. That's a big problem in the sport. Another reason for fighter safety, cutting all that weight, dehydrating your body like that is the wrong way to go about it. It really is.
So what would you suggest?
I think everybody needs to go up a weight class. Everybody. So your natural weight is the weight you should fight at.
Well, here's an idea. No more weight classes.
Oh, come on, man. That's
Lesnar versus
yeah, Mighty Mouse versus Lesnar. Let's see how that goes.
Mighty Mouse is in one championship. We don't talk about him no more.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just playing. Lesnar versus Ray Borg.
Yeah. Ray Borg would get destroyed. I mean, but everybody.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. Come on, man. That's like 100 pounds difference and some.
He uses his nuts as a speed bag.
Yeah, but I personally think that everybody needs to go up a weight class, because what's going to happen is somebody's going to cut water weight so bad that it's going to wind up killing somebody. It's not good for your kidneys. It's not good for anything in there, man. To cut weight like that is just insane.
Yeah, everybody should. I don't know what how other companies do it. I'm more aware about UFCs, but I've heard other fighting organizations have done it this way, where they do out of competition weigh-ins, and whatever your walk around weight is, they'll say, well, you can cut it to 10 pounds if you come in. If you're walking around 170 easily, and they come and check you at 170. They'll say, well, you can fight at 155. I don't know how it is, but you know what I mean, right? So it's like closer to your walk around weight.
So if you're 170, you fight 165 or 160?
No, well, that was a random.
Oh, okay.
So like say 205, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's walking around at 215.
Okay. 15 pounds isn't that much to cut.
So if they come around and you're 285 and you're still trying to fight at 205, some people, I don't know if anybody's done that drastic of a weight cut, but you know what I mean?
No, I mean,
they'll be like, hey, I don't think you should. Well, they'll be like, hey, you're no longer a light heavyweight.
Right. I mean, Daniel Cormier is the light heavyweight champ and the heavyweight champ, and right now he's walking around at what, 245?
Yeah.
And he fights at 205.
That's pretty good.
That's a 40-pound weight cut. That's
normal though.
That's still a big weight cut.
I think McGregor does around that much.
Yeah, McGregor walks around at 185 and fights at 155.
He fought out at 145. So.
Yeah, and he looks sick. He looked like a hospice patient.
But he still knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah, because this is my personal opinion, is that I think that the fight the weigh-in should be an hour before the fight. You should weigh in an hour before your fight, because what happens is these fighters will fight at one. Like, we'll take McGregor Aldo for instance. If you were to weigh Conor McGregor right after the Aldo fight, I guarantee you he's like
I believe
160.
they do, and they certain places you can find it posted.
Yeah, it's like
I'll
160.
start showing you that because I see it all the time.
Yeah,
They'll say, and I think some people regulate that. I think it might be like California or something. Like you can't come over a certain amount over what you weighed in at.
the Athletic Commission regulates that.
I believe so.
Okay, well,
I mean, I think like, oh, if you weigh in at 145, you can't come in weighing 185 the next day or whatever it is.
I mean that's pretty drastic, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to get at. I'm just saying like
They should have more weight classes, and they should weigh in an hour before the fight.
I definitely agree with more weight classes. A lot of people say that's dumb, but I like it.
I like it too because you get a bigger array of everybody.
I definitely would love to see like a cruiserweight between heavyweight and
225 weight class.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because I feel like a lot of heavyweights are smaller now.
Yeah,
and a lot of like light heavyweights could afford to go up.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to have to compete with somebody that's 265.
Hell no. Who the hell wants to do that?
It's from what is it?
205 to 265.
No, not 205. It's
yeah, it's 205. Light heavyweight is 205, and then it's heavyweight, that and above. There's no
but I think there's a minimum. I think you got to be like 235.
Really?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so because
anything above 205?
Yeah. Anything above 205 is heavyweight.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's why they need more weight classes. They need more weight classes and an hour.
Who's the lightest heavyweight right now? Is it Stipe? What's Stipe weighing at? I think
Stipe comes in around 230.
That's
Stipe
crazy.
Miocic, yeah, 230. Yeah, well, something to look into, but yeah.
So
upcoming. How about we go into some upcoming fights?
Yeah, let's talk about that. First of all, it's kind of crazy, and me and Ricky, we're probably not going to watch the fight live.
I don't know. They lowered the price of it.
Oh, actually, I was going to talk about the UFC event coming.
Oh,
we can talk about the other stuff first.
Okay, go ahead.
But I just wanted to mention, like, the UFC event this Saturday. It's in China, and it's 6:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it's going to be 6:00, 6:30 in the morning. I think the prelims start at 3 a.m. That's yeah.
So
we're gonna have to record. We're gonna have to record that and watch it another time.
It's on UFC Fight Pass, so we can just watch it whenever we want.
Yeah.
The two notable fights in my eyes. I'm sure the fights are going to be great, but the fighters that I really follow is the main event's going to be Curtis Blades, and he's fighting Francis Ngannou. Now
they've already fought before.
They have fought before. We talked about Francis. He's the guy, the big striker who knocked out Overeem recently, but he's coming off of I think it's 2 fights that he lost, and he's just ever since he lost to Stipe, he's been kind of gun shy.
He got exposed.
He's afraid to get tired. Now he's going to be fighting Curtis Blades, who is wrestler first.
Yes.
And he's been getting a lot better with his
elbows and takedowns.
And his ground game in general. I mean, wrestling's not everything when it comes to the grounding. I think he's getting better at not letting people transition. So I believe that he wins this fight. Blades, I think he's going to win the rematch. I think he's going to get him down and elbow the shit out of him.
Yeah, unless Ngannou has seriously upgraded his striking game and his takedown defense, Blades should win this handedly. Blades should come in, take him down, elbow the crap out of him, and move on to the next big thing.
Mm-hmm. So, and the other fight, it might be co-main event, I'm not exactly sure, but it's Alistair Overeem, who both the guys in the main event have beaten.
Yes, Blades have beaten him, and so has Ngannou.
Both of them was pretty devastating.
Yes.
So he's been having a hard way to go, and he's fighting somebody. It's I don't really know how to say the name. It's like Sergey Pavlovich.
Oh, okay.
It's somebody that's a day. I think
Oh, this
they're
is an up and
debuting.
comer fight, man. This is a dangerous guy.
Yeah,
Pavlovich.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's debuting. I think he's
Sergey
undefeated, right?
Pavlovich. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
undefeated, and it's very interesting to see how Overeem is going to do because he was doing a lot better before USADA got involved. To be honest,
Oh yeah. Well, he was roided up to the gills, man.
yeah, but he's still got a lot of skills,
Yeah.
and but I'm hoping he does good. But it's exciting because this new guy could be crazy,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and that's two heavyweight fights that are pretty cool.
It's
And then
got to be held in China, man.
there's a lot of Asian fighters that I don't really know them too well.
I haven't a clue. I can't keep up with everyone, but yeah, I haven't a clue on the Asian fighters.
I'm sure they're trying out or showing more of those fighters from over there.
Yeah, hometown heroes, buddy. So
well, I'm not too excited about these fights to be honest. But I will watch it. I'll go back and watch it when I wake up or something or later that night. We might make a night of it.
So what about the next one, the nostalgia fight between Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell?
Now is that this Saturday?
That is this Saturday.
Okay, so we kind of got into this recently. I think it was when we were watching the fights. We were talking about this fight, and I had mentioned.
What you mentioned?
And it seemed like you just could not accept this.
What?
That Chuck Liddell, if he beats Tito Ortiz
again,
he's still pretty relevant when it comes to MMA. You know how old he is, and how I think that just shows that he is still top still in top of. I think Tito is very good. He it ain't like he's a scrub.
Tito's an active fighter. I mean, he was an active fighter.
If
he
Chuck
just beat Chael Sonnen.
If Chuck beats him, he's still probably that to me that shows that he could probably have a good competition with a lot of fighters.
Now Chuck Liddell is what, 46 years old?
Well, if we were talking in Joey Diaz's terms, in Coke years, he's like 148.
Bit of a problem.
Yeah, but Chuck in Coke years, he's probably a lot older. We talked about that, and I said, you guys remember when the UFC they cut the Chuck in the audience, watching the fights, and he didn't know that the camera was on him. And
Poor Chuck.
He sits there and he snorts some cocaine right on camera. They tried to delete that clip, but you can find it.
Yeah, you can find it. It was pretty bad. But Tito Ortiz is the younger fighter. He's the fresher fighter. He's the more in shape fighter, and I just think he's gonna take him down and pound him out real quick, real simple.
Yeah, that's what I see, and that's why I said if Chuck is able to compete with him and actually finish him, and
that is one big if.
If he does, that means that he could probably take out still to this day take out a lot of these fighters that are fighting in the UFC.
Anybody can get a lucky punch off, dude.
No. We'll see. I think
Chuck Liddell is.
This fight's more interesting than a lot of people are like, I don't want to see this fight. It's just two old guys going. This fight's interesting as hell to me.
Oh, it is. That's absolutely interesting. It's a nice
and they say
circus to watch.
They say that both of these guys, these fighters, because it's who's promoting this? It's
Oscar De La Hoya's.
And he's saying
this is Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah. And they're saying that the way that he does the fights and the contracts and stuff, that Chuck and Tito both are going to be making more money than they both have in the UFC ever.
Well, that's because, not to get on the business side of MMA, but instead of having a direct contract where you get 1,000, just rough estimate, 10,000 a fight and 3,000 or 3 more thousand to win. This is going off the pay-per-view buys. So they'll get no money if nobody buys the pay-per-view, but everybody's going to buy the pay-per-view. So they're going to make how many millions of dollars because millions of people are going to buy this pay-per-view and watch it.
Yeah, and
and that's how boxers make their money.
I just wanted to mention, I think it's really cool that these guys are going to be making a lot more money. Because they're legends in the game, and they were around really. I mean, Chuck kinda and Tito kinda, but not really. I mean, there wasn't nobody making that much money back then when they were stars.
Oh no, they weren't
You know what I
making
mean?
big money like now. I mean, yeah, you're not making any money, and these guys were the original guys from like UFC 20.
This is back when UFC was top. Everybody watched UFC. I feel like
Yeah, I
the
can see
Chuck and
that.
Tito and stuff like that was prime time, man.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what got me hooked was Tito and Shamrock.
yeah,
That rivalry got me hooked on the whole thing, and I couldn't stop watching it. That's why. So I'm gonna check this out because they're having a Black Friday special on this pay per view.
it's like $40.
No, if you buy it on Black Friday, it's $20. But if you buy it on Saturday, it's
That's cool.
$49.95, which is way cheaper than any UFC fight. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and another thing we're gonna try and watch, or at least me. I mean, I think Ricky will too. I'm pretty sure it's just I got to make sure because it might be time differences. But one championship, I'm interested in that because it's on my radar now that they're doing trades, and I'm pretty sure they have a fight this Friday.
Now, One Championship is a Chinese-based organization, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they recently traded with UFC
for Ben Askren to Mighty Mouse Johnson, right?
Yeah, so Ben Askren was in ONE FC.
He was their champion.
They released his contract in agreement for UFC to release Demetrius Johnson's contract, and then they were both free agents and they both signed. So it was a mutual agreement trade, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they're talking all about potential trades in the future, but
this opens up so many possibilities between Bellator, UFC, ONE, PLF, and all these guys.
Well, as of right now, we only know that the relationship is working with these two.
Yeah, with ONE and
we don't
UFC.
know how much Bellator wants to cooperate or UFC if they want to cooperate with Bellator because Bellator is more North American based, just like UFC. But ONE FC is China, and from what I hear, they're huge in China. And
that's where most of their population is.
They have an app and it's free to watch, so I'm going to check it out.
And did you hear who's the new VP?
Yeah.
Former
Cupcake, right?
Or strawweight.
No. Was it Cupcake or whatever?
Yeah, she calls herself Cupcake. Bantamweight champion Miesha Tate.
Yeah.
Accepted the vice presidency of ONE Championship.
Yeah, and I never looked into it, but I was telling you that Matt Hume is the booker or something.
Yes.
It might be president.
Yes.
And that's Demetrius Johnson's
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little fishy.
Yeah.
A little bit of conflict of interest, I think.
You wash my back, I wash your back. That's how it works. Well, that's all I got today. What about you?
All right, so we got into ourselves a little bit. You guys might not know, but we're from Baltimore, both of us.
Okay, so this is a Baltimore-based podcast, and me and Buddy just want to, branch out, see what happens, put it out there for the whole internet. So that doesn't include just Maryland; it includes all over the world. But that being said, I hope we have many more episodes to come, and we'll just definitely look forward to it. What about you, man? You looking forward to more episodes?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more episodes, and we're gonna be trying new things each episode. Possibly have a third person, maybe as like a guest host with us for next episode. We'll be looking to get guests in the future, for different reasons. But, I'm looking forward to, I think that maybe we can start getting, call-ins from fighters if
Yeah, we'll get it done. Let's see what happens. We're just taking it day by day, episode by episode, see what's going on. Well, so what's our Instagram again, bud, so the folks out there can follow us and check us out?
So it's at MMA _marks. That's MARKS. And our Instagram, we like to do all kinds of stuff. We're gonna start posting more on there, but we want to for the fights coming up, we like to do fight picks and have like a little competition. It was pretty fun, the last one.
Yeah, man, this freight train's just getting started.
Yeah, so just follow us and don't be afraid to join in. We don't even care if you're new to the fights and you don't know who to pick. Pick who you like or whatever, or try it out, and then you'll get to know these fighters more based off of watching and hearing us talk about them.
Well, I'm Ricky.
I'm Buddy.
And we're out of here, man.